So the original IQ tests were actually developed to exclude people from school. It was testing people that they felt were too dumb.
But for the psychologists of the time, idiot and imbecile were not enough. So a new kind of stupidity classification was created. In the early part of the century, Henry Goddard, an American psychologist, translated the IQ test into English. It was a huge hit in America, and soon almost the entire population was being tested. And the IQ test became the dominant judge of human intelligence. Evidence is mounting now that the IQ test doesn't measure emotional intelligence, street intelligence, gut instinct, general wisdom, sense of humor, and a lot of other things people use to navigate the world. In many cases, girls did better on IQ tests than boys. More sports questions were added, and the balance was redressed. Moron was invented in the town of Vineland, deep in southern New Jersey.
Well, on the grounds of the training school, we had a research laboratory, and that's where Dr. Goddard worked out of. So, since a majority of his work took place out of that facility, which is no longer standing, unfortunately, I would imagine that's where that term was established. Just a matter of 100 yards or so from this facility. 1910. In 1910, Dr. Goddard proposed the term moron to identify higher-level individuals that were formerly labeled feeble-minded.
In those days, children that were not very intelligent, put them in a closet, you put them in the attic, and they were abandoned. And he thought that he could train them. So he started giving them special attention, and he was so successful that he decided to enlarge the operation. In the old days, a moron was a person that had a low IQ, but might be a very nice person, might be very sensible, might be very reasonable, may be a very great person. But now, moron is derogatory.
What are some of the big inventions that were developed here in Vineland that you know about?
The big inventions? The biggest one was probably I have not a clue.
They invented the word moron here.
I'm sorry?
The word moron was invented here.
No.
Invented the word moron.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
It's surprising that we use that word a lot. Don't know that it come from here, though.
That word was invented here in Vineland.
Well, I don't know that.
Do you know that?
Moron.
What is moron?
Yeah, that's cool.
Moron.
Yeah.
You use that word?
You never used that word?
Nah.
You never used the word? You never use the word?
See, that's the white folks' word.
Isn't that an interesting fact that the people in Vineland have very little concept of this?
I think they should give everybody a day off, make it moron day. Everybody get a day off for work. You know what I mean? Like that. Moron day, But just make a note that people in Vineland are not morons, but we just celebrate that day because the word was made up in Vineland.
How does it make you feel that Vineland is the home of the word moron, invented the word moron?
Kind of stupid.
I think they were trying to prove how heredity was the basis of intelligence. If your mother is stupid and your father is stupid, you're going to be stupid. It's one of these things.
Goddard believed stupidity was genetic. Stupid parents would have stupid children. Goddard believed that America was being quietly flooded with morons, imbeciles, and idiots. On Ellis Island, Goddard personally IQ tested immigrants.
And millions of these people were coming in every year. So the pressure is on the sociologists of those days to come up with something where they could say, yeah, this guy is okay. I mean, he does have a brain.
Thousands of immigrants, many who didn't speak English, were labeled morons and deported. Later, Goddard is said to have regretted publishing his books about genetic stupidity. Although he later recanted his theories, Goddard's books were translated into German, where they inspired, among others, the Nazis. Morons were some of the first Germans sent to the gas chamber. One reason why stupidity may seem so cool is because intelligence doesn't often look smart. Universities are beer halls. Dumb is sexy.
Is there any sign of any intellectual activity at your university?
What do you mean by intellectual?
People reading books, somebody playing the violin, intellectual debate, that kind of thing?
No, man.
Partially because of the IQ test, our whole concept of who is smart and who is dumb may be completely wrong.
When I was in elementary school, they would give us these group IQ tests. And when the school psychologist would come in the classroom, I would freeze because I knew what she was coming for. And I did really poorly on the test. So poorly that when I was in 6th grade, I was sent back to a 5th grade classroom to retake the 5th grade test, presumably because they thought that the 6th grade test would be too hard for me. And the result was that for the first 3 years of school, my teachers had low expectations for me because, after all, I was stupid. And they treated me like I was kind of stupid, and I acted like I was kind of stupid because, you know, you often act the way people expect you to.
This is part of a more general trend in psychology, I think, historically, where we've been very deficit-focused. We focus on what's wrong with people, whether it's what makes them stupid or what makes them have sad moods or what makes them have delusions and hallucinations or what makes them violent. We don't focus much attention on what makes people happy, what makes people live a rich life, what makes people have great relationships, what makes people peace-loving.
What's the point in going to school if the world doesn't want you to be smart?
In fact, that's a lot of what education is about from the very beginning. It's to make you passive and obedient and not to raise too many problems and so on. So yeah, there are efforts to control people and make them more stupid.
But really, it's just a very narrow slice of what it means to be smart that happens to be a good predictor of how people will do in school and other scholastic settings. But there are many other ways to be smart in this world.
With the popularity of the IQ test, science clearly identified the dumb. But what about people with high IQs? Are they beyond stupidity?
The initial idea for the book was during the Clinton administration because there seemed to be so many smart people in both parties who were acting in stupid ways. When you're talking about people doing the kinds of stupid things like you'd see at Enron, they commit 4 fallacies. They've been so rewarded in their lives that they become very focused and centered on themselves, and they stop caring about outcomes for other people. The second fallacy is what I call the omniscience fallacy, and that is most of these very smart people surround themselves by sycophants. They start to think they know everything. So part of wisdom is knowing what you don't know. These people, instead of becoming wise, become foolish. The third fallacy is what I call the omnipotence fallacy. They start to think they're all powerful, and they start acting as though they can do anything they want. And the fourth fallacy is what I call the invulnerability fallacy, and that is they start to think they're Superman. So if you put those 4 fallacies together, what can happen is that very smart people start to do incredibly stupid things.
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never.
All of these people, by any standard, would have done very well on IQ tests, SATs.
Why didn't I just stay overnight?
But they acted in ways that were stupid.